Epic Stat Tool 1 Speedruns of Statistics. Brian Stevens versus Chapter 1. Stats start here. Begin.
When we look at quantitative versus categorical variables, quantitative variables are actual, real numbers. And what I mean by this is you can ask somebody a question like, how many miles did you run last week? And they can say 20 miles, and someone else can say 12 miles. You can then subtract the difference and get a difference of 8 because these are actual, real numbers that we can do mathematics on. Questions like, what is your age, could be phrased as, how old are you? And somebody could give their age in years. When we think about quantitative variables, we have that they are either continuous or discrete. Now, a continuous variable would be something that has decimal places or could have decimal places, like how many miles did you run could be 5.8 versus how many cats do you own would be discrete because it wouldn't have decimal places. You probably wouldn't say you own 1.5 cats. So if something is continuous, it can take on decimal formats, and these are types of quantitative variables. Continuous variables can have decimal places, and discrete variables are always whole numbers. Now, categorical variables are going to put things into groups. So when we think about categorical variables putting things into groups, we can think about a question like, what is your favorite dessert? And some people might say cheesecake, other people might say ice cream, but these would put people into groups, and then we could count how many observations are in each group. I think a stumbling block I see many people have is they say, wait a minute, 8 people said cheesecake, wouldn't that be then quantitative? Well, the original question was, what is your favorite dessert? And that puts people into categories of their favorite desserts, and then we can count how many people are in each of the categories. So when we think about categorical variables, we need to think that it puts people into groups. And the two types of categorical variables that we have are nominal, which would mean no order to them, and we have ordinal. Ordinal categorical variables are going to have order to them. And so an ordinal categorical variable would be something like steak preference. As long as someone has a steak preference on the scale of rare to well done, it would have an order to it. So just think how it goes in order, like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. But if we ask somebody like state they are born in, this would have no order. There is no order to the state to say this state comes before this state, at least when we think about where somebody would be born. So these are all the different variable types, quantitative versus categorical. Now, it's important when we think about when we have things that wouldn't really be good variables and things that would not be good variables would not have a context. All data needs context. We need to understand what it means and where it came from, and we need to use that context. Now, we have one last variable here, and it's an identifier. So an identifier is simply going to identify. And what do I mean by this? An identifier would be something like your student ID number. So let's put here student ID number. And your student ID number would be something that would be unique to you. It cannot, will not, ever, ever, ever repeat. So you know something is an identifier if it never repeats, and it can never repeat. So let's look at a simple data set right here from Amazon. Let's zoom in on it. And we have here the order number. Now, the order number is the first variable, and that's usually sometimes a clue, not always, that this is an identifier. But if you were to call Amazon and say, here's my order number, it would only point to one order. But if you said, here's my name, your name would not be unique to them. And so the name would be a categorical variable because your name can repeat. You say, hey, I'm Brian, and I need to find out about my order. And they'd say, well, which order number? Because the order number would identify it right there. We have the state that somebody is ordering to, and that would be categorical right here. We have the price, and this is how much did they pay, so that's going to be quantitative. We have the area code. Now, this is a number, but pause. This is not an actual real number, as in we could do mathematics on it. We wouldn't say 440 is 128 more than area code 312. So this is a category. It's what area code are you in, not how much is your area code. If you notice the difference between how we ask the question. We look at the download they have. This is categorical because it can repeat. It doesn't identify anything within here. We have the gift, and one thing to note is gift could be a binary with zeros and ones. Sometimes we do that, where these are yeses and nos, but it's not like yes is one more than no. So this is categorical. And lastly, we have Amazon store identification number, and this is for their products. And we'd usually put a key at the top explaining that this is for the product. And so this could repeat. It's based on the product. Even though it has identification number in there, it's for the product, and the real identifier in this data set is going to be the order number. Last but not least, going sub 5 minutes, is the artist, and this is also categorical. So we've identified all of these in the speedrun sub 5 minutes. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Good luck.